What are the things that are beyond our control? In other words, what constitutes everyone's predetermined destiny in life? There are 6 things. The first thing is our birth and the family we're born into. Whether we're Indian, Chinese, or from any other background, it's not up to us. When I was growing up and studying a bit of philosophy, my philosophy teacher hit me with these questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going? Then, I started asking myself, who on earth is Wang Defeng? Where do I even come from? Why am I not Indian, African, or American? Why am I Chinese? How in the world did all this happen? Did someone decide this for me? Also, why the heck wasn't I born earlier? I could have been part of the 1911 Xinhai Revolution, man. But nope, I had to be born in 1956 and in this family situation. The Cultural Revolution, 1966–76, made my identity clear. My dad was labeled a capitalist roader, someone who fancied a bourgeois path and deviated from communist ideology. My mom was a fugitive landlord, and guess what they called me? A lowlife. All of that is out of my hands. Being born later is fine with me, too, but I didn't have a say for obvious reasons. It all went down without my consent, no discussion whatsoever. The second thing out of your control is your personality. The differences in people's personalities are tremendous. The main aspects of personality, the basics, are not solely shaped by the environment. Even if you grow up in the same place as your siblings, there can be major differences in personality. People with the same family going to the same schools in the same city may differ a lot in their personalities. For example, I observed that in my own family, 2 brothers have totally different personalities. It's all part of destiny, the second aspect of destiny. The third aspect is health. A good traditional Chinese doctor figures out your Bazi using your birth date and time, and upon knowing your Bazi, they can then gain a deeper understanding of your health issues. Your Bazi will reveal what your body's natural condition is and what type of illnesses you might be prone to. For example, certain Bazi may reveal a naturally weaker liver, while another Bazi may show weak lungs. The fourth aspect is your future profession. You might think you have a choice in picking a career, but that's not really the case. How do you make your choices? Do you base your choices on salary? What else do you look for in a job? In any case, your choices are predetermined and influenced by external factors or forces beyond your control, such as socio-economic factors or opportunities. Therefore, we might think we're making choices, but in reality, it's not that simple. The fifth aspect is your romantic relationships. After you become an adult, you may get married. There are also those who choose to stay single or happen to be forever single. It's just how their destiny turns out. Anyway, let's say you find a partner. What kind of person are they? What's your relationship like with your husband or wife? You might think you made the choice, but did you really make the choice? Imagine this scenario: your neighbor's sweet, beautiful daughter really likes you, but you just don't feel a connection with her. You go through all the hassle and effort to find the one, and finally you find her or him and tie the knot. And guess what? Within 3 months, you realize you ended up with someone completely different from what you expected. She may not be as perfect as you'd imagined. It's a part of fate, long predetermined in your Bazi. Lastly, let's talk about children. We Chinese people care a lot about the next generation. It's part of our national identity. Our kids mean everything to us. Once we have children, we start planning for their future, mapping out a detailed path for their growth and education. It's both silly and quite fascinating. There is an old Chinese saying, every parent hopes that their son will become successful, like a dragon, and their daughter will soar high, like a phoenix. That's the truly wish of every Chinese parent. The pain and sacrifice Chinese parents go through is unparalleled. They are most selfless in the sense that they are willing to sacrifice everything for their children. They see that their own chances of wealth and fortune are slim, but they will still work tirelessly. Why? To pave a bright and happy road in life for their children. Chinese folks are like that. The lady who works as an hourly employee to help do domestic chores for my family goes to 4 households every day. She's already in her 50s, almost 60. I said to her, "You must be worn out. How long have you been working in Shanghai?" She replied, "Nearly 20 years. I guessed she may not rich but should have already made enough money." I asked, "Have you built a house for your family back in your hometown?" She said, "We built it a long time ago." I suggested, "You should start getting ready for retirement. Don't work so hard." She quickly explained, "I have 2 sons. The first one has already graduated from college, got married, and started a family. The second one is still in college. He'll also need to get married and have kids in the future. That's why I have to keep working." This is just how Chinese people are. The lady works hard so that she can buy a house for her sons. It must be a huge burden. Despite the hardship, she presses on, a typical characteristic of Chinese people. However, we should understand one thing: children are also a part of your life's destiny. It's not the result of your efforts, as shown by the following example. I've been mentoring graduate students at Fudan University for decades. Some of the students I've worked with come from really poor rural areas. A student's mom is sick in bed all year long, and his dad bears the burden of providing and caring for the whole family. Despite difficult circumstances, their kid managed to get into Fudan University and later came to me for his PhD. Can you believe it? His parents couldn't even read or write, let alone give him the same opportunities as the city folks in Shanghai. They couldn't afford fancy tutors or all those extra resources. He was the top student in the county and ranked high in the province. The entire village threw a party in celebration. The local government had a cool policy of giving grants to students who got into Peking University, Tsinghua University, or Fudan University, so he got a nice cash reward. Then, he worked with me for his PhD, and his doctoral thesis was honored as one of the best in the country. Do you think his parents made all this happen? Did they plan and orchestrate everything? No way. His parents wouldn't have even dreamed that their kid would excel academically like this. Does this kid owe his success to his own hard work or fate? Well, let me tell you, all kids work hard, but where they direct their efforts vary. Some drop out of school and start working right after junior high. Regarding the question about whether someone's PhD is determined by destiny or their own efforts, the answer is that their passion and determination are shaped by fate. If it wasn't in their destiny, they wouldn't be so focused on studying. If becoming an academic wasn't in the cards for you, you'd have passion for something else. Right now, my passion is studying the I Ching at Fudan University. Understanding fate is a real challenge. Sometimes we unknowingly credit fate for our achievements. Remember the example I gave about my student? As teachers, we also appreciate his hard work. What's the first thing we praise him for? His dedication to studying and researching. True, he's got the drive and determination, and it's natural for us to acknowledge that. But where do his motivation and thirst for knowledge come from? It comes from a time when he had big dreams. He must have put in serious effort in his field of study. As he dug deeper, his dreams got even bigger, and he stayed committed. People set their goals early. Someone may want to become a scientist, another person may want to make it big as an actor or a renowned chef. It's not something we just randomly pick. If you end up becoming a stellar actor, and your friend ends up being an incredible chef, the passion he pours into cooking is just written in his destiny, just like the fire you have for performing arts is written in yours. How about if you want to dive deep into researching the Goldbach conjecture, the hardest math problem in existence, with all your heart? Well, that's written in Chen Jingruan's destiny. And who knows what his circumstances were back then? Chen Jingruan only gained fame later on. He spent decades working on the Goldbach conjecture. It was one tough math problem to crack. The Goldbach conjecture still remains unsolved, and he didn't get any glory for it. He was plagued by hardship, lousy living conditions, and poor health. He was stuck at the Mathematics Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Sciences for years, and nobody paid him much attention. That's how it played out. We are basically affirming the concept of fate. We are discussing the relationship between fate and the meaning of our lives. If we believe in fate, then life has true meaning. However, if we do not believe in fate, we relinquish the meaning of life to forces beyond our control, and this meaning essentially does not exist. The true meaning of life is not established. You know how as people get older, they start letting go of the dreams they had as kids. On Shanghai's top finance channel, there used to be this show called Brainstorming. They'd bring in all these big-shot business leaders and industry tycoons in China as guests, and the host would interview them. They'd spill all their secrets to success and drop some serious knowledge. The show was a hit, especially among young students. But here's the thing, why do they all dream of becoming the next Pan Shiyi or Jack Ma? Why do young people of today want to replicate the successes of these business legends? It's a common dream, but when they hit 40, they just focus on the everyday chores and no longer think of their dreams. Most of you here are pretty young, and I'm bringing up the idea of destiny because it's important to learn from Confucian teachings early in life. If you don't acknowledge your destiny, you can't really become a truly perfect person. One of Confucius' students, Zixia, said, "Fate determines one's life, wealth and honor." Our lives have a set course, and whether we end up rich and successful is all up to fate. Confucius really appreciated Zixia, and when he said these words, Confucius immediately gave his approval. Now, one important inheritor in Confucianism is Mencius, who also discussed destiny. There's a right way to seek things, but fate determines what we obtain. Seeking hard won't help us obtain the result because what we seek is something external to ourselves. We've just had a discussion about the concept of destiny, emphasizing its validity. But if we think that acknowledging this concept has nothing to do with the meaning of life, we're mistaken. The meaning of life actually comes into play precisely when we acknowledge the concept of destiny. This meaning is something we can establish for ourselves, at a certain level of understanding. Throughout our lives, we should live for ourselves, and since we are living our own lives, there must be something we seek. In life, one must have desires, but there are two kinds of seeking. Mencius explained this clearly. What is one kind of seeking? It is the kind where you gain by striving and lose by letting go. This kind of seeking is beneficial. There is another kind of seeking, called seeking with a method. This method refers to the approach you take. You seek to learn a method to obtain what you want. Whether you succeed or not, however, is up to destiny. This type of seeking can't help find what you want because the results depend on external factors. So, in life, there are these two kinds of seeking. The second kind of seeking is pretty pointless, while the first kind is meaningful. Let me break it down with a simple example. Let's say you're a Chinese student and want to get into Harvard. To get accepted, you've got to nail exams like TOEFL and GRE. To excel on these tests, you must excel at English. Therefore, if you want to get into Harvard, you'll go all out studying English. You might even sign up for a language school like New Oriental. It'll cost you money, time, and a whole lot of effort. Now, your goal is to get that acceptance letter from Harvard. So, here's the question: is this the first kind of seeking or the second kind? Take a moment to think about it. Whether you get that acceptance letter or not, that's the second kind of seeking. That being said, you really did put in the effort to study English, right? You genuinely worked hard to learn English for those TOEFL and GRE exams, right? And what's the result of all your efforts? Maybe you didn't get that acceptance letter from Harvard, but did your English skills improve a whole lot? Yep, they did. Well, that's the first kind of seeking, where it is about your inner self. Let me give you another example. Let's say you started your own business. Once you start a business, you have goals. What's your biggest dream? You want the company you founded to make it big, like being in the Fortune Global 500 or the Fortune China 500. Either way, it's got to be strong. In this situation, you are seeking with a plan, right? To get what you seek, you signed up for the EMBA program at Fudan University School of Management. Then, whether your company can make it to the Fortune Global 500 is up to fate. But since you've started a business, you also want this company to make a positive impact on our society in China. You want to run the business better. What kind of seeking is this? It's the first kind: seek and you shall find, abandon and you shall lose. This kind of seeking is all about contributing more to society with your company. This seeking pays off when you achieve it, and it is something you can attain, a seek within yourself. Now, as for whether your company can make it to the Fortune Global 500, it's not something you can directly control. There are too many external factors that come into play. How's the market economy in China doing these days? E-commerce is booming, right? Jack Ma seized every opportunity in e-commerce, and people saw it as his success story, believing it's all because of his hard work. However, becoming the richest person in e-commerce was something determined by fate. You can use all the knowledge you've gained in management science, economics, and finance to try and make your business grow, but whether it actually becomes a big success is not something you can guarantee. It depends on fate. You may strive with certainty only to make your business contribute more to society within the industry, perhaps on a smaller scale, and does not see massive growth. Let's say that I, Wang Defeng, open a convenience store in my neighborhood because I noticed we needed one here. Without this little convenience store, the folks in our community would be inconvenienced. I take initiative to establish one and put in my best effort to run it well. What does running it well mean? It doesn't mean my aim is to have a bunch of stores in every neighborhood in Shanghai. Nah, that's not my goal. What is my goal then? It's to make life easier for the people in my community, conduct business in a fair and honest way, sell quality products at reasonable prices, and provide top-notch service. If I could achieve all that, I would have found what I seek, because running this convenience store holds great meaning for me. Even if I only run this one store for my whole life, it would be a very meaningful life. That is the essence of Confucianism, and the precondition to the mindset of a Confucian perfect person is understanding one's destiny. If you don't get that, you won't be able to reach the level of a perfect person. Instead, you'll just be a villain chasing after wealth and status. Pursuing and seeking success in an inappropriate way will bring about trouble. For example, that Sanla milk powder business was doing pretty well, until they decided to use melamine, and everything went downhill. The guy in charge of Sanla milk powder group definitely didn't understand the concept of destiny. If he did, he wouldn't have used melamine because he would have understood that when running a big company like Sanlu he should not be selfish and only care about personal success. The bigger the company gets, the more responsibility it carries. That's something he should have realized. When your enterprise grows, you're dealing with more capital and taking on greater social responsibility. You must think about whether you're capable of handling even bigger responsibilities than before. If you do not acknowledge your destiny, believing that you can make it even bigger just because of your past success, well, that's selfishly attributing all success to yourself. In actuality, you should thank fate for your success. There is a Chinese poem ending with these two lines: "Heaven and earth in harmony may align, the hero's fate, by destiny, confined." It means that when the timing is perfect, everything seems to work out in your favor, with the whole universe lending you support. But when the luck is gone, even though you are an outstanding person, you can't do much to turn things around. Even heroes are bound to their fate. I want to emphasize that the belief in destiny brings about a positive outlook on life. When we don't believe in destiny and think that wealth and success are totally within our control through our own efforts, then we're heading down a path of negativity. Those self-help books out there are messing with the heads of young folks in China, encouraging them to chase after money and power, and obsess over wealth and high social status. Is that what they should aim for? Absolutely not. They should take a page from Confucian teachings and dabble in some Taoist wisdom. In Zhuangzi's text, In the World of Humanity, he said, "There are two great commandments in the world, destiny and loyalty. We can't escape them. Destiny is about fulfilling our responsibilities, like showing love and respect to our parents, regardless of our family's wealth or status. Likewise, when you have children, you should never neglect your responsibilities." The second commandment is loyalty. In the past, ministers were to serve their rulers with loyalty, as Zhuangzi suggested. It's about fulfilling one's duty. That being said, let's not limit our understanding to the concept of imperial or monarchic systems. The monarchic system has been long abolished. Today, we can still talk about the ruler in the context of the Chinese nation. The Chinese nation is our ruler today, and every Chinese person is a member of this nation. In this sense, we are all subjects, and no matter where we go, we know that we are Chinese. That's something you can't change, and it embodies a sense of loyalty. As members of the nation, we have a responsibility to the entire Chinese nation, and that is loyalty. We can't escape these commandments. Destiny and loyalty are unavoidable. Zhuangzi sees them as significant commandments precisely because they can't be avoided. This is the philosophy of Zhuangzi's Taoism, which advocates for a life of ultimate freedom. We should strive for great freedom. However, destiny and loyalty are two things we can't escape. Zhuangzi suggests that if we understand we can't control them, we should accept them as our destiny. That's the highest virtue. That is Taoist philosophy. In the Confucian tradition, Confucius and Mencius also talk about fate. We mentioned earlier the 6 aspects of human destiny. Here is one of Mencius' famous sayings: "To accept and follow its rightful path, it is none other than destiny." This means that we should comply our fate with all 6 aspects of life we discussed earlier. How do we do that?